How's it going, everyone? Today's video is going to be a video response to MrCleanerNash's first giveaway. I don't do very many video responses or contest entries. I don't like. I always feel like I'm taking away from someone else. I like purchasing my own stuff and using it. But for this, I thought it was very important for me to enter and just express my opinion and share with you guys my feelings on the subject. So for the contest, for the giveaway, Eric asked us to discuss what we do to train and what we do to prepare our mind or our mindset for a situation, I guess a defensive situation where we're going to have to protect ourselves or our lives or the lives of our loved ones. And I think it's a very underappreciated topic in the YouTube community. I don't discuss it much, but I think it's definitely something I need to touch on more in the future. A lot of channels here on YouTube are more focused on the tools, on the guns, the knives, the flashlights, the holsters, all those tools that help with the training, with the mindset of self-defense, of protecting yourself and your family. So with that said, he wanted us to discuss what we did and what we do to train and to prepare ourselves. So basically I want to cover what I do, and I just want to kind of go in and talk a little bit more detail about what I think should be done. Alright, so for myself, for my state, to carry a concealed handgun, you have to have a permit. To carry open, you don't need anything, but carrying concealed I think is a little bit better option. And so in my state, you have to obtain a concealed handgun permit, and to do that you need to take a concealed carry course along with a couple other things. And now the concealed carry course is the absolute bottom, the very base of what, in my opinion, what is needed to carry a firearm. Alright, they teach you the basics of marksmanship. You go over some laws and regulations for carrying, and where you can and can't carry, and all that good stuff. But that's just the basics. I have not taken a more advanced handgun course or a concealed carry course. I plan on doing that this fall. I found a training center that I'm going to take the class from, along with my girlfriend. So we have that planned. We have not done that, but that is definitely something that we are going to do. With that said, anyone who has the opportunity to take one of those courses should do it. It is a benefit to you and your family, anyone, and even the people around you. You're preparing yourself better. You're training. You're learning different ways to approach situations. It's very helpful. All right. Along with that is dry fire practice. All right. Dry fire is again one of those underappreciated things that people take for granted. Alright, so in the safety of your home, whenever you have downtime, whether it be after you get home from work, before you go to work, whatever, alright, taking out your carry firearm, in my case, it would be the Car CW9, putting your holster on, practicing your draw, practicing your reholster, practicing, target acquisition, making sure you're lining up the sights, practicing your triggers, your control. All that really prepares you and gets yourself, more in tune for the instance that you actually need to use this. When I actually first installed this laser on my car here, I was doing some dry fire practice and noticing that when I was pulling the trigger, although most of my shots go where I want them to, I was kind of jerking the trigger a little bit. And I noticed that, and that laser really helped to correct the issue, and now I don't jerk the trigger. So simple training things like dry fire really can help, make you aware of certain things you're doing and correct those problems. Alright, now dry fire is great, but at the same time you want to take your firearm to the range. You want to make sure you're proficient with it, make sure you're used to the recoil, you know what to expect. If you have the opportunity to go through some drills, go through some drills. So there's different stages, different levels of progression, as you can see, of different ways to train. Your basic courses, your dry fire practice at home, going to the range and actually shooting your firearm, your weapon, getting used to it. And then the next would be, I guess, creating scenarios. I'm lucky I have access to an outdoor range and also a friend who has some land that I can shoot on. And I'm able to take my guns out, my carry gun, and practice different scenarios, reloading my magazines, moving and hiding behind cover, stuff like that, which I need to show you guys in the future. And that is very, very important. It's almost more important than just simply shooting a gun. It doesn't matter if you can shoot it. You need to know how to maneuver and protect yourself in that type of situation. So simulations are great, and I know some people are limited with indoor ranges, but you need to try to do your best with what you have. Alright, so those are all training things. I do those on a regular basis. Try to get out to the range as much as possible, 2 times every month, so once every 2 weeks, if not more, is usually my goal. Just to keep myself up on shooting and get more and more proficient as I go. Alright, along with that, training can be as simple as reading a book on concealed carry, on defensive tactics. I like the articles and It Happened to Me kind of stuff, where you hear what people went through, what they did, and how they came out of the situation. It really gives you an idea of what could happen, and again, that adds to mindset and prepares you for the possibility of having to react in that type of situation. Alright, so that's kind of the training aspect of it, and the mindset is something completely different, and in my opinion is more important than the tools or any type of I guess training that you can get. If your mind is not prepared, if you are not committed, if you haven't seriously considered the consequences and the ramifications of using a handgun, using a knife, using whatever means of self-defense, and the outcome of that, then you're not prepared. You need to, first off, before you even consider getting a concealed handgun permit, before you consider carrying a firearm in self-defense, you need to make a decision that you are comfortable with defending your life and having the possibility of taking someone else's. I guarantee you 80% of those people have not considered that. What happens when I actually need to use my firearm, and am I prepared to take someone's life? I guarantee you the majority of people don't consider that. So asking yourself those type of questions, making a decision beforehand, if I need to use this gun in self-defense, I am going to use it, I am going to be confident in my decision, and I am prepared to take someone's life. Not meaning that I want to, not meaning that I ever will, but I am prepared to in that situation. It's a very, very important topic. It's something that should not be taken lightly. It is something extremely serious. And every single person who has a firearm for home defense, that carries a firearm for self-defense, when you're out, should ask yourself that question, should know the answer to that question before you even put that gun on in the morning. It is that important. Alright, so that is the first portion of mindset. Making that decision, right? Making that choice. The second is, I guess, both part of training and mindset, is knowing the laws, the regulations, what to do and what not to do in a situation. Alright, in my state, I'm lucky to be able to conceal my handgun. I have a permit for that, as well as open carry if I so choose. And I've done both. There are pluses and minuses to each one, but you need to know the laws and the regulations that surround that. Alright, in my state and in most states that offer the ability to carry a firearm, you can't carry on school property. You can't carry on federal property, so post offices and stuff like that. Some states don't allow you to carry in places that serve alcohol, bars, restaurants, stuff like that. Alright, so you need to know the laws and regulations of your state and research. It is so important to do that. Alright, if I decide to open carry, now it's legal in my state, but you do come across some people that are going to ask you questions, they're going to approach you and say, hey, why are you carrying a firearm? If they can see it, if you're openly carrying. And you need to know how to address that situation and how to move forward. If a law enforcement officer approaches you, you need to know how to deal with that situation. Okay? Just because a law enforcement officer comes up to you and asks you about carrying you carrying a firearm doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, right? But you do have to respond, and you do have to act politely. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about beforehand that goes into self-defense and the mindset. All right, now again, another mindset aspect is fight or flight. Okay, there's different situations, and you can never have the answer to every one. Whether or not you're going to, in a situation, fight, right? You're going to draw your weapon and defend yourself, or if you're going to try to retreat and get away from the situation. All right, again, ahead of time, you need to know to the best of your ability. Run situations through your mind. Okay, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If that happens, I'm going to do that. But again, you can't ever predict what's going to happen, and it's never going to be perfect. But at least you're trying to prepare yourself for that type of scenario. Alright, and another big part, I think, is discussing with your family, with your loved ones, and letting them know how you feel. I think the worst thing that you can do is make a decision for yourself that I'm going to carry this firearm, and not share that with the people closest to you, the people that you plan to protect, the people that you plan to defend with that firearm, and not let them know of the decision that you've made. What happens if you come into a situation where you actually have to use your handgun in self-defense, and your wife, your kids, if they're of age or whatever, your girlfriend does not know that you're actually carrying a firearm? If you have to draw it in that situation, are they going to freak out? How are they going to react? Are they going to know what to do? You have to consider that. You really need to discuss. I don't agree with openly telling any new person that you meet, oh yeah, I carry a firearm. I mean, I'm talking to you guys on YouTube. I'm trying to explain my perspective. But how many people realistically watch these videos and are going to be able to identify me? So telling everyone what you do and that you carry a firearm isn't the best idea. But telling your core group of friends and family, the ones that you're always around, the ones that you're always with, so they know, I think is very important. All right, and again, with that is another scenario situation, and this is the last kind of bullet point that I have written down on my notes here for mindset, and that is running scenarios with your friends, your family, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, that you're always around, to make sure that they know in this situation what their job is, what needs to be done, and how the situation should progress. All right, just to give an example, my girlfriend and I, say we go to the grocery store, say we go to the mall, any place in public, or even at home, you need to know in a certain situation what the best thing to do would be. Alright, so say my girlfriend and I are walking down the mall, and we get to a big open corridor type place, and say, okay Hillary, what happens right now if some crazy lunatic comes in and starts shooting people? Just walks in, doesn't say anything, just starts open fire and starts shooting people. In this situation, what will we do? Right? What am I going to do? What should you do? You need to discuss that, so when that situation happens, if it happens, you have the tools and the means to go about getting out of that situation, surviving. Okay? So I would say, okay Hillary, in this situation, this guy comes in, depending on how far away I am from the person, if I have a clear shot, whatever, I'm going to engage them. I'm going to try to stop this from happening. I'm not going to stand idly by and wait and see other people being shot, killed, injured, and just sit there. Okay? I'm going to engage them. I'm not going to worry about my safety at that time. I'm going to try to stop the issue. But at the same time, I need to consider her safety. I need to say, okay Hillary, if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you need to do. You need to help me make this. You need to make this decision for yourself as well. Alright? As we're walking down the mall, there's a pillar there. If we're coming into this portion, alright, you need to start looking for cover. There's a pillar over there. If something happens, you need to run to that pillar, take cover, just stay there. Okay? Because you know exactly what I'm going to do. Okay? My girlfriend has a concealed carry permit. She carries her firearm. She can defend herself. Okay? I'm not leaving her by herself. Alright? But I'm going to try to stop the issue in the situation. So you need to think about those things, okay? That's just one situation that I just thought of right there. Alright, you do the same thing for at home, with your kids, with your wife. Okay, someone's trying to break into your house. What are we going to do? Alright, is dad going to go get the shotgun? If mom's at home with the kids, or your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, is she going to know what to do? You go get the gun, gather up the children, take them to a room, make sure they're safe. What is the best course of action? Alright, that is the mindset. That is what you need to think about. That is what you need to discuss with your family, and get to a point where you are comfortable that if a situation arises, you know what you're going to do. Your friends, your family, your loved ones, they know what to do. Alright, and everyone's going to be safe and come out of it, alive. Okay? So, that's a long-winded explanation of this topic. I'm definitely going to try to cover this in more detail later on. I hope I have, covered everything that Eric wanted to cover in this video. Again, just want to stress the importance of training, of mindset, making sure that you know what you're going to do, making sure that, in a certain situation, you're not going to hesitate. You have to have your choice made beforehand. So, with that said, I'll end the video. If anybody has any suggestions, if anybody has any comments, they want to add anything, please let me know. I would love to discuss this with you. This is one of those topics that you can sit down and talk for hours and hours and hours and never get to the end of the conversation. It's just that detailed. There's that much to talk about. So, I want to thank everyone for watching, listen to me kind of blab here, and hope to see you guys next time. Appreciate you watching. Take care.